Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood updates here. Remember to subscribe for the latest videos. But today, we're turning our attention to a truly viral and unexpectedly intense moment in German television that has taken social media by storm, captivated political commentators, and stirred both laughter and suspicion. What began as a light-hearted segment on Carolin Kebekus show quickly escalated into one of the most talked-about incidents involving two of Germany's most prominent political figures, Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock and Finance Minister Christian Lindner. Yes, it really happened. Annalena Baerbock dialed Christian Lindner's number live on television, and he didn't pick up. But what appeared to be a harmless party game quickly unraveled into something far more layered, something deeply political, personal, and potentially revealing. Did Lindner dodge the call on purpose? Is their relationship more strained than previously believed? And what does this moment say about the current state of Germany's coalition government? Let's dive into this dramatic, hilarious, and suspiciously tense episode that has everyone asking, what's really going on between Baerbock and Lindner? It all started in an episode of Carolin Kebekus show, a popular German late-night satirical program known for mixing sharp political commentary with irreverent comedy. The guest list that evening was packed with heavy hitters, but all eyes were on Annalena Baerbock, Germany's Green Party leader and foreign minister, who has become one of the most visible figures in European politics. Carolin Kebekus, never one to shy away from risky or provocative humor, introduced a light-hearted Wahrheit oder Pflicht, truth or dare, segment, a classic party game that rarely finds its way onto serious political stages. When Baerbock agreed to play along, few expected the segment would turn so unexpectedly awkward. Her challenge, to call a fellow cabinet member, Christian Lindner no less. Baerbock hesitated for a moment, her trademark diplomatic poise giving way to visible nerves and amusement. Still, she rose to the challenge. She pulled out her phone, found Lindner's number in her contacts, and, under the watchful gaze of millions of viewers, pressed the call button. Tension filled the studio. Would he answer? Would there be an awkward conversation broadcast live? Would Lindner brush her off or engage in some cheeky banter? But then, nothing. The line rang once, twice, 3 times, straight to voicemail. The silence was deafening. The audience laughed nervously. Carolin Kebekus raised her eyebrows in theatrical disbelief. Baerbock chuckled awkwardly, clearly surprised and slightly embarrassed. But what seemed like a funny TV gag quickly took a more suspicious turn. Why didn't Lindner answer? Was he avoiding her? Had there been some miscommunication? Or worse, was there an underlying rift between them that had just been exposed on national television? Then came the twist. A prominent German TV personality, who remained unnamed in initial coverage, offered a sharp and possibly scandalous suggestion. Christian Lindner may have deliberately ignored the call. That's right. What was supposed to be a joke became a full-blown political mystery. Was it a snub? A subtle message? A deliberate act of disrespect? To understand the gravity of this moment, we have to take a few steps back. Annalena Baerbock and Christian Lindner are not just colleagues in the same coalition government. They represent fundamentally different political ideologies. Baerbock, a leading figure in the Green Party, champions climate policy, humanitarian outreach, and international diplomacy. Lindner, head of the pro-business Free Democratic Party, FDP, is a staunch advocate of fiscal conservatism, tax cuts, and economic pragmatism. While both serve under Chancellor Olaf Scholz's so-called traffic light coalition, The tension between the Greens and the FDP has been brewing for months. In fact, only weeks before this TV incident, Baerbock and Lindner clashed publicly during a ZDF televised debate where Baerbock sharply criticised Lindner's leadership during Germany's recent financial crisis. In a stinging rebuke, she accused him of leaving the government to fend for itself, while others continued to work for the people. It was one of those moments that, while diplomatically worded, carried the emotional weight of betrayal. Lindner responded with cold pragmatism, brushing off the comments and claiming he was simply following protocol and fiscal responsibility. But it was clear something was fractured. So when Baerbock called Lindner on national television and he didn't answer, it didn't seem like a coincidence. It seemed calculated, and it sent the media into a frenzy. Newspapers ran headlines like, "Baerbock reaches out, Lindner turns away," and social media erupted with memes, theories, and divided camps. Some defended Lindner, suggesting he may not have seen the call, or perhaps had his phone on silent. Others weren't so sure. A trending hashtag, Lindnergate, emerged on X, formerly Twitter, with users speculating everything from petty revenge to a deeper crisis within the government. Adding fuel to the fire was Baerbock's body language. After the call went unanswered, her expression shifted, just for a moment, from amusement to something more sobering. Was it disappointment, frustration, or perhaps the realization that the rift between them had just been made public in the most humiliating way possible? Behind the scenes, insiders began leaking tidbits to journalists. One source from the Green Party reportedly said that Baerbock had been deeply hurt by Lindner's continued resistance to her international aid proposals. Another, from the FDP, claimed that Lindner was tired of the performative politics Baerbock was known for. Whether these claims were true or merely political theatre, one thing was clear. The relationship between Baerbock and Lindner was not just professional, it was now deeply personal. Interestingly, this wasn't the first time German politics blurred the lines between seriousness and showbiz, but the Baerbock-Lindner moment stood out because it was raw, unscripted, and awkwardly human. It reminded everyone watching that even world leaders, those who negotiate wars, handle billions in taxpayer money, and shape foreign policy, still grapple with missed calls, mixed signals, and bruised egos. As the days passed, the incident continued to dominate headlines. Political analysts weighed in on what the missed call might signify for the coalition's future. Could it signal a deeper breakdown of communication within the government? Or was it just a humorous misstep blown out of proportion? Baerbock, ever the diplomat, refused to comment directly when approached by reporters. She offered a polite smile and said, "It was just a game. Let's not read too much into it." But the tone of her voice suggested otherwise. Perhaps a bit of resignation, perhaps a touch of frustration. Lindner, for his part, eventually addressed the issue, but only briefly. In an interview days later, he stated with a grin, "I get a lot of calls. Sorry I missed it." But that wasn't enough for many. Commentators pointed out that a man as media savvy and punctual as Lindner, missing a call from Baerbock, especially during a live show, seemed improbable. Soon, comedians, pundits, and sketch shows were all reenacting the call, parodying it and using it as a symbolic representation of German political dysfunction. One satirical cartoon showed Baerbock as a ghost, calling from the political wilderness, while Lindner hides behind a mountain of tax proposals. Another portrayed Lindner surrounded by ringing phones, all with Baerbock's name flashing as he reads a book titled How to Avoid Conversations. But not all responses were lighthearted. some members of the public saw the moment as indicative of a larger issue: the breakdown of communication within government. In an era where global conflicts, economic uncertainty, and environmental crises demand collaboration, the image of a foreign minister trying and failing to reach her colleague became a metaphor for dysfunction. The incident also sparked wider conversations about gender dynamics in politics. Some argued that had the roles been reversed, if Lindner had called Baerbock and she hadn't answered, the backlash would have been harsher and the interpretations more damning. Others questioned whether Baerbock had been set up, knowingly or unknowingly, to be embarrassed on national television. Amid all the noise, one thing was undeniable. This was a moment that people wouldn't forget. It exposed cracks in the veneer of political professionalism. It revealed just how fragile relationships at the top can be. And it proved that even in a world of scripted statements and carefully managed PR, truth or dare can cut through it all. As for the future of Baerbock and Lindner's working relationship, that remains to be seen. Insiders suggest that a private conversation between the two did eventually take place, far from the cameras and the memes. Whether they reconciled, argued, or simply agreed to disagree is unknown, but the fallout from that missed call has become a permanent footnote in Germany's political history. And so, we close this chapter with a lesson that transcends borders, politics, and party lines. Always answer your phone, especially if the foreign minister is calling, during a live broadcast, and the whole country is watching. Thank you for watching Daily Gossip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breaking updates, dramatic stories, and behind-the-scenes moments that remind us just how human even the highest powers can be.